Hello world, this is Rachel Gives Tips. I have another channel called Udavere where I've been posting random videos that I make with my brother, with my school, and I decided I want to share some of my magical experience with people around the world. So this first video I'm making is about being vegetarian because I've been vegetarian for almost 4 years now, and I found it's one of the best decisions I've ever made. It's simple. It's a lot easier than most people think. I talk to people about being vegetarian and they say, oh, I could never give up meat. But really, it's not as hard as you would think. It's all about the little decisions that you make. Decisions like, do I want a hamburger or a veggie burger? And of course, those aren't always options. For example, I lived in Bangkok for a year last year, and it was very hard to avoid all the seafood. Not because I wanted it, but just because it was everywhere. And there was little cubes of shrimp in almost everything. But I found that a lot of the time you can substitute shrimp for eggs or tofu, and it makes hardly a difference in taste. And not only is it good for your body, but it's also great for the planet to be vegetarian, because breeding animals, like the millions and millions of cows that are being birthed every year for only meat, is awful for the planet because you have to feed them, you have to water the grass, and you have to clean them, and all the water and pesticides that go into keeping these animals alive until you slaughter them for meat is awful for the planet. And my reasoning is if we have come so far that we're cloning tomatoes and a sheep or something, if we're so agriculturally advanced as a human race, why are we still eating meat? That's what the cavemen did when they didn't know how to plant. And now that we do, what are we waiting for? But back to being a vegetarian yourself. It's all about the little decisions you make. I find it's very helpful to fill your cupboard with non-meat snacks like granola bars or yogurt. It's also really important when you're vegetarian to replace the meat. That's the part that most people forget. My sister, for example, has tried to be vegetarian several times for my birthdays, and almost every time she's fainted because she just takes the meat out of the burger or out of the bun, and all she gets are those carbs. You need to replace the meat with proteins like eggs, cheese, beans, milk. Like dairy products are the best things. I also have a whey protein powder. I just get a glass of milk, I pour in some chocolate powder, stir it up, and it's as much protein as a steak or something. So it's very easy to replace if you're committed. But of course, the transition into giving up meat is always a little shocking at the beginning. I've tried to be vegetarian a couple times and I've given up in the past. But this time, almost 4 years in, I'm still going strong, and I love it. Because at the beginning, I told myself so many times I didn't want the meat, and I just thought, while my sister ate chicken in slow motion or something, I would tell myself, what is she eating? And I would think about it, and I would envision it, and suddenly I would be so turned off by the things that used to appetize me so much that I just wouldn't want it anymore. And now, I'm nauseated by the smell of meat, and so it's so much easier to be vegetarian. But it's also, once you've safely made it over to the other side, and really it's just mind over body, you don't want it. You just don't. It's disgusting. It's an animal. It once had a life, and chickens can dream. They have rapid eye movement when they sleep. And so people are starting to think that chickens can dream. So do you want to eat the carcass of a dreaming chicken? I don't think so. So just tell yourself that every time someone's going to KFC. Just think about it. It also helps to do research and think about, and there's so many documentaries out there that are just filled with killing animals, and look at what people are doing to them and abusing them. If you care about the planet, you care about your own health, or you care about animals, you should absolutely turn vegetarian. And soon everyone will be. It's really growing. I had always looked up to vegetarians, and I hope that that's the way people look up to me now, because I've cut myself off something that just isn't sustainable. And you could do it for the environment, or you can do it for yourself. I haven't gotten a full pimple since I turned vegetarian, just because the chemicals and the oils that are in meat just aren't good for you. Or if they're natural, sure. And feel free to comment if you have any arguments with what I say, any disagreements. But I find it's made me a better runner. I love to run, and hopefully I'll make a video on tips about running later. But you just don't need what's in meat if you replace the protein. Replacement is the most important thing. It's also good to be educated about it, to understand how it works, because if you just get a chunk of cheese every time you avoid going to a meat restaurant or eating a meat dish, you might not understand its effects on your body. They say that being vegetarian makes you short, but really all we get from meat are vitamins and protein. If you take daily vitamins, I take a teen girl little pink vanilla vitamin every day and eat a ton of tofu and my protein shakes, and I'm good to go. I don't even have to worry about all the animals I'm saving. But it's also important, if you turn vegetarian, not to rub it in other people's faces. If someone else is eating a steak, you don't say, ew, that's a body. Ew, you're eating a carcass. Someone killed that for you. Don't start saying that, because it really makes people uncomfortable with you, and they may not like you as much anymore. Being vegetarian isn't being arrogant. It's not looking down on other people. It's being happy that you've overcome the temptation of meat. And that's practically all I want to say about being vegetarian. So I hope that you can send this video to your friends who are trying, because being vegetarian is so much easier than people make it out to be. You just tell yourself that you don't want it and replace it. Just replace it. And they have all these tofurkey things now. Meat-flavored tofu, meat-flavored vegetarian products. So you can still go to a barbecue and get a burger, but it's not an animal inside. It's some potato and corn or something, and it's delicious. So if you still want the taste of meat or the texture of meat, it's still out there. And people are obviously going to support you in whatever you do. If you have true friends, they'll love that you're trying to be vegetarian, even for a week or two. And remember, it's supply and demand that's keeping the meat industry alive. If people stop wanting meat and people stop paying for meat, they won't have to produce it. Cows aren't born to be slaughtered unless cows are slaughtered, and then these packed little herds of them will have more space, because there won't be as many cows that are going to be killed in them. So the butchered, future dying cows have more space. They have a better life. So even if you think the chicken's already dead, it didn't have to be. It didn't have to be. One vegetarian makes a huge difference. So please, turn vegetarian today. And this is my first Rachel's Tips video. Please make sure also to check out Udivir, Yuddhavir, my other channel.